We got to get out of the shame that we have that we've done something shameful. And the Course says that there's something deeply hidden inside of us that we think is shameful. And the thing that we think is shameful, and Christianity portrays it well, is the Garden of Eden story, the fall from grace. We think something's happened that's alienated us from God. And all the Course ever tells us, what happened was you stopped communicating. God didn't do anything to you. There's nothing shameful about you. And so we need to start releasing that shame, releasing those thoughts, those blocks to the awareness of love's presence that's preventing us from experiencing this grace that is so great and that we are so deserving of. This voice that is constantly talking to us because he loves us. And now we're back to that 8th line in that first paragraph. It says, there is no certainty but this, that he loves you, that he is entirely accessible to you. It says, yet this suffices. That's all you need. That there is only certainty. He will love his son forever. And when his mind, the mind of his son, remains asleep, he loves him still. And when are we asleep? We're asleep when we are stuck in this world. When we think this world is who and what we are, that's when we're asleep. When we think that our health or our peace is determined by how much money we make, who becomes president of the United States, what our bodies do, then we are asleep to our reality. Then we are asleep to his love. And when his mind, the Son of God's mind, awakens, that's what that's referring to, God loves him with a never-changing love. And then we know it. Those are those instances when we experience grace. When we feel a touch of heaven, as the Course would say. When we feel like the Course uses the analogy, it's like a dry earth and rain drops upon a dry and parched earth and the earth just comes alive. You've all seen those National Geographic movies or TV shows where they show those time lapse and they'll show just rain coming down on real dry area and all of a sudden the little seeds start growing and it's like, oh, isn't that cool? Well, you see it in a time lapse and it grows so fast and we see what comes from just a little drop of rain. Well, that's the same thing with us. These little awarenesses that begin to drop on our minds, these thoughts of truth and love that begin to enter our mind, this is the truth. And so we're nourished by that. Remember, after a rain around here, we've been having a drought. So when we get our first rain, what does that smell like outside? Ooh, doesn't it smell good? It smells so fresh and so clean. We all can resonate to that, right? I can smell it even now. I mean, maybe I can't smell it exactly, but I know the feeling that comes from that. That's what we have to keep remembering. That renewal is what this is like. That renewal. When we are asleep, God still loves us. When we wake up, we recognize that love. Just the other day, I was thinking about this. Actually, in Paul's latest article, he was reminded of this. When Jeffrey was really little, wasn't talking yet, he would always say "dada." That's the first word, "dada." If you ever watched Jimmy Fallon, he wrote a book called "Your Baby's First Words is Dada," and so he makes this a million seller with a baby. It's like all of us know this, but of course it's Jimmy Fallon. So your baby, it's Dada because it's easy to say. Linguistically, that's the easiest thing. Mama is not as easy. Dada, easy. So the babies say that first. And, I knew Jeffrey called him Dada. He called me Dada. I knew what that meant. It meant somebody who protected you, somebody who took care of you, somebody who loved you. That was just Dada. And, we'd always say, I'm Mama. That's Dada. Let's kind of get the roles, the gender straight here. But one day, though, I said, I don't care. I don't care what he calls me. It's fine. He calls me Dada. I know what he means by that. Well, the one day that he finally said Mama, you can imagine how that made me feel. It's like, I got my name, and it was just such joy in heaven type of thing. And I thought to myself, you see, that to me is what God feels. It's like when we're asleep, he still loves us. He loves us, loves us, loves us. But when we awaken and call on him in the morning, throughout the day, and then at night, can you imagine the joy? The Course even talks about that, the joy of that communion, that connection. How much more joy there is when you feel that. We're in communion now. If you're talking about somebody or talking to somebody and finally you connect with somebody and you really have a good conversation, doesn't that feel even better? That's what this is like. When we finally connect to God, it's a greater connection. It's not that he doesn't love us. It's not that but it's that extension, and it's a give and take. We extend, he receives. He extends, we receive. That's what you hear this in the Course all the time. As he gives, we receive. As we give, he receives. There's this constant ebb and flow that is so extremely important for us.